The rain hammered against the tin rooftop as if the sky itself were furious at the injustice done to him. Nathan Cole stood outside the glass doors of the company he had given 6 loyal years to, clutching a cardboard box filled with the remnants of a life he no longer recognized. His ID badge, the framed photo of his daughter Lily, the mug she painted for him on his last birthday, the things that once symbolized hope now felt like heavy stones tied to his chest. He had taken the blame for something he didn't do, believing it would protect the one colleague who needed a second chance. Instead, it cost him everything. And in that single moment, wet, cold, and humiliated under the stormy sky, Nathan felt himself crumble. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of the human heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. It means more than you know. Nathan walked through the parking lot with slow, dragging steps, trying his best to shield the box from the rain. Every drop felt like the world reminding him of all the ways he had failed. He kept thinking about Lily, her bright smile, her tiny hands reaching for him whenever she was scared, her soft voice telling him that he was the best dad in the world. How would he explain this to her? How could he face her when he didn't even know how to face himself? He had fought so hard to raise her alone after her mother left, working overtime shifts, skipping meals, taking freelance jobs late at night just to afford school supplies and rent. The job wasn't just his job. It was the thread holding the last of their stability together. He sat in his battered sedan for a long time, staring through the fogged windshield as the storm blurred the world outside. The silence inside the car was suffocating. His phone vibrated, but he didn't have the courage to pick it up. He knew it was the daycare, reminding him that he was late again. He knew the bill was due. He knew the world was still moving forward even while he felt stuck, drowning in a moment that refused to pass. Finally, he started the engine, wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, and drove off, each streetlight stretching over him like a spotlight exposing his failure. At home, the apartment felt dimmer than usual. Maybe it was his exhaustion, maybe his shame, or maybe the flickering bulb in the hallway he kept forgetting to replace. Lily ran to him, her pigtails bouncing, her backpack half unzipped, her smile the only light that could pierce the darkness he was sinking into. She sensed something was wrong. She tugged on his sleeve with those worried eyes that always saw straight through his attempts to be strong. He lifted her into his arms and held her tightly, breathing in the soft vanilla scent of her shampoo, trying to borrow courage from her innocence. The days that followed dragged like heavy chains behind him. Nathan spent hours searching job listings, sending out applications, walking from office to office with a hopeful smile he didn't feel inside. Some employers looked at his resume with interest until they reached the part about his termination. Others didn't bother to hide their disapproval when they realized he was a single father. Still, he tried, because he had to, because Lily deserved a father who didn't give up. But hope grew thinner with every rejection. He took on small labor jobs, carrying crates, cleaning storage units, fixing fences, anything to keep food on the table. His hands blistered and bled. His body ached. Some nights he returned home so exhausted he could barely speak. Lily would sit beside him, drawing pictures of them together in a bright world she believed they still belonged in. She didn't complain when dinner was simple or when the electricity flickered. She didn't ask for things he couldn't afford. She just stayed close, as if her presence alone could anchor him, but life has a way of testing those already on the edge. A week into a temp job cleaning an old office building, Nathan slipped on a wet floor and injured his wrist. It wasn't broken, but the swelling made it impossible to lift anything heavy. He lost the job on the spot. The supervisor didn't even look him in the eyes. That night, as Nathan sat with an ice pack pressed to his wrist, he felt something inside him break. Not loudly. Quietly. Like a candle flickering its last flame. Meanwhile, in a distant penthouse on the other side of the city, a woman named Evelyn Hart stood before towering windows overlooking the skyline. As the CEO of Hart and Lander Industries, she was known for her fierce intelligence and calm authority. But her eyes carried a depth that hinted at her own burdens, losses she never spoke of, secrets she buried behind perfect posture and a steady voice. She had seen injustice before. She recognized patterns people thought were invisible. And Nathan's termination had been one of those patterns. Something about his file, the rushed investigation, the inconsistencies in the incident report, it didn't sit right with her. So she started digging. Days later, she discovered the truth. He hadn't been at fault. The blame had belonged to someone else entirely. And the worst part? The division manager who fired him had known the truth but chose the easier path. Anger simmered beneath her calm exterior. She didn't believe in letting good people suffer for the cowardice of others. She made a decision. Nathan's life didn't know about second chances yet. But fate was already shifting around him. On a cold Friday morning, when the clouds were gray and the air felt unusually still, Nathan received a phone call. The voice on the other end was gentle but firm, asking him to come to the corporate office immediately. His heart raced, part fear, part hope he didn't dare indulge. When he arrived, everything felt different. Employees whispered as he passed. Some looked at him with sympathy. Others avoided eye contact. He felt small and misplaced as he waited outside the executive suite, clutching the strap of his worn-out bag. Then Evelyn Hart walked toward him with footsteps confident yet warm. She studied him for a moment, the tired eyes, the defeated slump of his shoulders, the determination still flickering somewhere deep despite everything. And then she leaned closer, her voice low but steady, as if offering a lifeline to a man who had almost drowned. Come with me. Those 3 words shifted the ground beneath him. She led him into her office, where sunlight filtered through the blinds and softened the hard angles of the room. She explained everything she had discovered, how the truth had been buried, how his loyalty had been twisted against him. Nathan listened silently, his breath trembling. She apologized, not as a CEO protecting her brand, but as a human being recognizing another's suffering. Then she offered him a new position, one higher than the one he had lost, with better pay, better hours, and a chance to rebuild everything that had fallen apart. Nathan felt the weight of months lift from his shoulders. His eyes burned, but he held back tears until he was alone in the elevator. When they finally spilled, they weren't tears of defeat. They were tears of renewal, of gratitude, of sheer relief after drowning for too long. That evening, when he picked Lily up, he lifted her off the ground and spun her around despite his injured wrist. She laughed, and he realized he hadn't heard that sound in its full brightness for weeks. He returned to the company the following Monday. Some people looked surprised. Some looked ashamed. But none of it mattered. He wasn't the broken man who had walked out under the storm. He had endured. And now he was rising. Before the ending of this story, please take a moment to comment something encouraging for someone who might be struggling right now. Your words might be exactly what they need today. As the weeks passed, Nathan grew into his new role with a renewed sense of dignity. He worked hard, but now there was purpose behind every action. Evelyn often checked in, not out of obligation, but because she genuinely cared. In time, he realized that kindness wasn't a weakness. It was a strength powerful enough to pull someone back from the edge. His life wasn't perfect now, but it was moving forward, and the shadows that once consumed him were finally fading. And if this story touched your heart, even for a moment, please like the video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who might need hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us of the good still left in this world. Nathan's journey wasn't about luck, it was about perseverance, compassion, and the courage to keep going even when the road felt unbearable. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person, one moment of kindness, one whispered invitation to step toward the light again. Tell us in the comments what part of Nathan's journey resonated with you the most.